officially start the course now. These are the guided note sheets you'll use to help you get through the material. I'll have the videos for each of these sections. And this is in addition to the videos that are built into the assignments that you could also use. And so let's go ahead and start. We did an introduction already, so hopefully you've had a chance to think about what statistics is. But here's our kind of formal introduction to the beginning of our first section here. And so the first question you're thinking about again, of course, is what is statistics? And one way that informally that many people look at it is statistics really is the study of us people, right? What's happening in the world. And what we use to study us is really the data, the variation and chance, right, that occur in our world. Data is everything around us, right? We have what we're going to learn is qualitative and quantitative data, like data that comes in numbers, and then data that comes in not in numbers, right? Observations, patterns, categorical data, which formally we'll look at. And variation is the idea that we see differences between groups, within groups. And then we use statistics to study chance, which is just probability. There's a formal definition in our syllabus that really looks at, and I think I have it here on our syllabus here, statistics is an intellectual method that applies wherever there's data, variation, and chance appear, which is in our world. That's everywhere. And as it says here, it's omnipresent, right, in modern life. And hopefully we start to then think about this again. It really is, again, a science, right? And it is different than mathematics, but we'll get a chance to look at. We use mathematics to help answer questions about the world. So the first thing we want to look at is this first piece, which is data. And so data really is a collection of observations or measurements, and that's important to realize, right? Measurements are many times these numerical ways of figuring out how much of something. We'll talk about these measurements as we go on. But to do statistics, we need data, and we get data from what we call a sample. And a sample is a sub-collection of members from the population. And so what we do with these samples is many times we do statistics with these samples. Now, the reason we have samples, and you can see in this picture, a sample comes from the population. We use these statistics to describe the sample. And what we hope is that this sample that we have allows us to describe the whole population or the whole group, right? And so if we could collect data from an entire group, then we don't need really statistics, right? Because we have the answer. We know what it is. Statistics is a way of describing, right? Describing the population. And that's what's important here is when you collect data, that data describes the population. That's what our intent is. And so you can see again that picture there. One way we kind of informally, we measure, not informally, but formally measure things is through means, standard deviations, proportions, medians. We have other values, but those are, again, some few that you may be aware of already. And the big picture of all this, again, is we want to use results from a sample to describe or understand a parameter. And a parameter is the value that is related to a population, okay? And so here is an example here that you could read to see the difference between a population parameter, sample, and statistic.